Look in his eyes, what do you see? A cancer in the wrestling industry. Imagine returning to wrestling after getting annihilated in the UFC, going to AEW after the WWE didn't want your bitch ass, so you convinced the money mark Tony Khan to sign you for a large sum of money. Fast forward a year later, and what did you even do? You all waited years for him to come back to have him possibly be gone again? Punk returned looking like a crackhead. Still looks like he hasn't hit a gym. He either has terrible genetics or he's just too lazy to work out. Yet we're supposed to look at this guy like he's the face of a company? Stop it. This man is out here built like melted ice cream and expects people to take him seriously. He's a great example of how low the bar has gotten in wrestling. Punk looks like any random guy on the street and somehow he's champion material? Say what you want about John Cena, but the guy looks like $1 million. He looks believable as a world champion. The landscape of wrestling will be bleak if we see guys such as Eddie Kingston or Jungle Boy become world champions. We need more guys like John Cena to ensure we get champions that actually look like stars. This virtual signaling, lame-ass fraud CM Punk wants to go to bat for Sasha Banks and Naomi, but said nothing about Big Swole or Jonathan Gresham. This guy is known to be a dick. I don't get why people who spent a large portion of their lives behaving like a jackass suddenly want to act like a paragon. Within a year, he got injured twice. What is he made out of glass? How fragile is this guy? I think Ric Flair may be less of a liability than Punk. I mean, how are you acting like a tough guy, running your mouth, all while a gust of wind might sideline you? But wait a minute, AEW fans. I thought you guys didn't like part-timers, such as Goldberg. Or does that only apply to WWE? Guess so, since you clowns get choked up whenever CM Punk becomes world champion. We've seen Punk's fights. All 2 of them. And he absolutely sucks. He had no business fighting in the UFC. He is not a fighter. UFC was something on his bucket list, and he embarrassed himself. Even with top-level fighters training him, he wasted everyone's time just to give up on MMA after 2 fights. But tell me again about his passion for MMA. This buffoon went on and on for years about how The Rock was taking spots away from other wrestlers. Yet, he came to AEW doing the same thing he was crying about. Cokehead Tony Khan gave him everything and he managed to act like a child. He couldn't handle a promo from Adam Page. He talked shit about him when he wasn't around. He talked shit about Colt Cabana when he wasn't around. What a tough guy. A real locker room leader. Upon winning the AEW title for the 2nd time, he sat down next to the toy collector and decided to shit on the EVPs while they weren't present. Then, when they tried to confront him about his comments, Punk refused to answer the door. So after a few super kicks with thigh slaps for extra effect, the Bucks and Omega got to Punk. One thing led to another, and before you know it, we had chairs flying, dogs barking, and apparently some guy named Ace Steel biting people. Sounds like a bunch of girls fighting in high school. But if you ask me, Punk invited the violence. He ran his mouth publicly, encouraged anyone to confront him about any issues, and like many fake tough guys, once someone confronts them, then they make up 100 excuses to avoid any confrontation. However, everyone involved in that altercation acted unprofessional. What kind of boss is Tony Khan even? You allow someone to bury people in your company, then you have to suspend people from fighting and strip them of titles to just 1. But that's not all. There's more fighting going on. Another fake tough guy in Eddie Kingston throwing punches at Sammy Guevara because that fat chubba lubba got offended. Then Sammy got into it with Andrade because, surprise surprise, Sammy took offense to Andrade. So Andrade swings at Sammy, which resulted in Tony sending Andrade home. At this point, just make Dynamite and Rampage filmed exclusively backstage. At least there, you have interesting storylines with guys trying to fight each other instead of flips, super kicks, forearm shots, thigh slaps, dives, and botches. Maybe then Rampage can get better ratings than the Big Bang Theory reruns. After that pipe bomb promo Punk did in WWE years ago, this clown has been milking that shit since, acting like he's the voice of the voiceless. Yet once he was no longer the focus of the WWE, he wanted out. Fact is, that pipe bomb was solely for his benefit. He doesn't care about the guys in the back, it's all about him. This was obvious way before he came to AEW. CM Punk's cult of delusional marks will still defend him, ignoring all of the evidence that points to how toxic this guy is, because they can't accept the guy is washed up and is no longer a draw. The ratings prove it. People still think he does all this for the fans? Funny, because he has no problem flipping out at anyone who doesn't kiss his ass. CM Punk is not needed in wrestling. All you get with him is trouble. Let this guy finally fade into irrelevancy. I'm guessing Tony Khan is one of CM Punk's rabid fans, since he allowed Punk to go off on the guys in his company. He disrespected Adam Page, Colt Cabana, and the EVPs. Tony didn't think to step in and lay down the law? Imagine if Vince McMahon or Triple H allowed that. Seems like Tony Khan allows the inmates to run the asylum. Tony Khan is busy playing universe mode, just signing a bunch of bland, overrated indie scrubs with shit physiques and no personality. It's either that, or he's snatching up WWE rejects, all while the IWC calls these guys game changers. Say, how's the game changer Athena doing? What's Miro been up to? How about Jeff Hardy? Maybe we should ask the enabler Matt Hardy if Brother Nero was a game changer. It's easy for us to bring up CM Punk's accomplishments. We can prop him up as the best in the world. But behind all that blind praise comes the truth. He's an overrated, out of shape, disheveled prick who's mid-card at best. He cut one memorable promo and ran with it, all while holding people down to keep himself at the top. And once things don't go his way, he throws a tantrum. He's willing to cut ties with friends and burn bridges, all while acting like a sweet little angel in every situation. Dude went on Colt Cabana's podcast to give this sob story about how he was treated in WWE, as if he was never a multi-time world champion, one of the longest reigning champions in modern history, Money in the Bank winner, main evented pay-per-views, was trusted to feud with The Rock, had several segments on Raw and SmackDown, was a Paul Heyman guy, WrestleMania matches, including one with The Undertaker. All of this for years. He barely had moments where he was doing nothing. This guy had it good in WWE. There's been guys who did less, got released, and didn't bitch and moan like CM Punk. For CM Punk, WWE was so bad that he joined that WWE backstage show, and just like his AEW run, his alleged star power didn't move the needle for that show. Punk knew Tony Khan is a money mark. He's just like Dixie Carter with TNA. They both get googly eyes whenever some has-been is on the market. At this point, why bother keeping Punk under contract? Same goes for Sammy Guevara, two guys causing trouble. Tony Khan thinks this makes AEW look good. Guys can cause trouble among others and little to no consequences occur. The most he can do is suspend people. Just drop this fool already. Tony Khan, start acting like a boss that has a set of balls. Fire guys like CM Punk. You are not one of the boys. Stop hugging motherfuckers and be a man. You keep trying to cater to Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, and the IWC instead of really trying to grow your company. AEW is just an indie fed with high production values. The roster mainly consists of a bunch of guys that look like Adam Cole and Eddie Kingston, a bunch of guys green as grass that somehow get put on TV, creating a collage of botches and hospital bills. One of these days, CM Punk has to shut his mouth, look himself in the mirror, and hold himself accountable for his actions. But in the meantime, I think it's best if his wrestling career gets put to bed. When it comes to AEW, well, you got Tony Khan at the helm, putting out a product that's been stagnant for a while. Having Jon Moxley swearing and bleeding is not must-see TV. Adding useless titles won't make the bland roster less bland. It certainly won't stop the botches, but keep throwing money at next week's Game Changer. While there will be a few Moxleys willing to re-sign, expect more Cody Rhodes to see the red flags and getting out of Dodge.